Well, they finally made the announcement. Charlo versus Tszyu set for January 28th. Hey man, it's about time. Thank you. It's about time. We've been waiting 6 months to get that announcement. They announced that they will be fighting back in June. So, it would be wonderful if they actually promoted that fight the whole time. If they actually would have been putting a promotional engine, and I'm not just saying having a promoter for the fight, but really pushing that fight, it might actually be a big fight. I mean, I'm not talking the actual fight itself as far as what happens in the ring, but I'm talking about they could have really pushed that and made it a big fight. But whether they do or don't, it's already some buzz about the fight. Tim Tszyu has somewhat of a following. He's not the biggest name in the world, but he comes from a fighting family. His father, Hall of Famer, Kostya Tszyu, one of the best fighters of his time. Hey man, I really wish Kostya Tszyu would have got past Ricky Hatton so he could have fought Floyd Mayweather. That would have been a classic. He missed Floyd by one fight if he would have got past Ricky Hatton. But with that being said, no need to go down memory lane. We do have a spectacular fight ahead of us with Tszyu versus Charlo. Now, I already put it out there in my first video dealing with this that I do believe Tim Tszyu is a good fighter. I believe it's in his blood, and I think he can go on and do big things, but I don't think it'll start with Jermell Charlo. And my main reason for saying this is experience. A lot of people gave me flack for saying that with my first video dealing with them fighting, but I'm sorry. If I was his handlers, I wouldn't want him in the ring with Charlo yet. I think he needs just a little bit more seasoning. And when I say seasoning, I mean in there with real opponents. Now, if you look at his resume, most of his work was done locally. So and even if that wasn't the case, he doesn't have anybody on his resume that jumps out at me. Terrell Gosher, 22-2-1. Takeshi Inoue, 17-1-1. I mean, the numbers look nice. Steve Spark, 12-1. Dennis Hogan, 28-3-1. Bowen Morgan, 21-0. Jeff Horn, of course, 22-2-1. And that's the fight that actually really put him on the map. But I just think he needs more experience. For example, when you look at Charlo's resume, you got Castaño back-to-back. You got Rosario, who was a champion. That was a unification fight. Tony Harrison actually beat him for the title. I didn't think he won that first fight, but, I did think he was actually ahead of Charlo in the second fight when he started getting knocked down and stuff. Austin Trout, former champion, and highly regarded Erickson Lubin. You have nobody on your, even his worst fight, his worst that I just named out of all of these was Erickson Lubin, right? He's the only one that I named that wasn't a title holder. He hasn't even fought Erickson Lubin. I would love to see him fight Erickson Lubin. Tim Tszyu, that is. That would be a great fight. Tony Harrison, great fight. Heck, Austin Trout, if he's still around, great fight, because it gives you somebody that has championship experience that you can say you fought. The last thing you want this boy to do is to get in the ring and start freezing up because the moment's too big for him. Put him in there with Brian Castaño. I would love to, man, put him in there with Patrick Tszyu. And I think he'll beat the hell out of Patrick Tszyu. But either way, give him somebody with some championship experience. Jermell Charlo has, I think at this point, like 9 championship fights. Has been on Showtime. At this point, this will be his 16th time. He's used to the limelight. Give this boy some, and I don't mean, I don't mean nothing by calling him boy. He, matter of fact, grown man. But give this man something that's going to benefit him going into that fight. Besides Jeff Horn. Now, who knows? I'm pretty sure in Australia, that fight was huge. I can guarantee you that. But give him more of that. Something where he's actually in the limelight. Not no small time fights where he might be on Showtime boxing out the dark or whatever. Give him some big boy stuff. So that's why I believe Charlo, the experience Charlo has, is gonna be too much for him. I think Charlo's the better boxer anyway. But I think the experience is, if he had a shot, it would be with more experience, in my opinion. And I think people are putting too much into his power, because check this out. 21 KOs, that's not bad. I mean, 15 KOs for 21 fights, that's not bad. But what you got to understand, when you start fighting the top guys, those KOs are harder to get. Just how it is. Ask Errol Spence. Notice them knockouts done dried up a little bit. He said the same thing about Keith Thurman. When he was on the way up, and Keith, he started like, what happened at one time? You ain't knocking people out no way. It gets like that when you start fighting these top dudes. Like when Charlo knocking out Castaño, I didn't see that one coming. Especially after the first fight. I mean, I knew he could hurt him, but I didn't see him knocking him out. But it is what it is. But that's pretty much all I got this head busting boxes on Fight Doctor. Hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Hit me up in the comment section. Let me know what you think. I mean, do you see Tim Tszyu beating Jermell Charlo? I say no way. I mean, he just doesn't have the experience. Now, I'm not saying that ain't something he can't overcome. I just don't believe he can. But let me know what you think. This head busting boxes on Fight Doctor. I am out.